Good afternoon, everyone. Or actually, it's still morning yet, isn't it? I am cutting down on my fingernails right now because I broke one getting Robert up this morning, and they're really, really sharp. So I wanted to cut them all down and file them so I don't scratch him. But I entitled this Life in General and Having to Put Your Foot Up Someone's Butt in Love. Okay? The reason being, and I'm going to start out by talking about how my day went yesterday. And I know that possibly some of y'all can relate. So, yesterday, Robert got a new aide. We had some issues with the other new aide. and so she started yesterday. The newest aide started yesterday. And every time Robert gets a new aide, he acts up. And when I say acts up, he will try everything in the book to see how far his aide will go and see how much I will tolerate from him. Okay? So yesterday I stayed here at the house, but it started out that morning, and I already knew it was coming because it is the norm for him. Okay? And for those of you that don't know, my name is Rita Marie, and Robert, I am a full-time caregiver for Robert, and he suffers a brain injury. And he was in a coma for 3 months before he actually came home from the hospital, and that has been a year and 6 months ago now, I believe. I don't really have the exact time span it's been right now. But, so, Robert couldn't do anything when he first came home except bring a spoon to his mouth to eat. He couldn't even open up a cup or anything, or even drink from a cup unless you were holding it for him. Okay, but he has progressed a lot. But Robert also knows what he's doing, and he knows how to play the game very well. Okay? So, yesterday, when I got up, right, I literally came out here on the porch like I always do every morning. I was told by the doctors to get Robert into a routine of doing certain things at certain times of the day. Okay, so he doesn't sleep real well at night. So with that being said, I like for him to sleep in the mornings. And so I'm trying to get him to on a regular sleep pattern and not get up until 10 o'clock. And that gives me time to also do some things that I need to do. Um, so he gets up at 10 o'clock. He has his medication. He drinks his coffee. He eats breakfast and all of that, and then comes out into the living room and watches TV. And we wait for his aide to come. And she comes about 2 o'clock every day. So I get him up every morning. So yesterday morning, everything was pretty normal until Robert decided he did not want to wait. He just didn't want to wait. And I kept telling him, Robert, it's not 10 o'clock yet. We're on a schedule. And he was yelling at me and everything else. And I was talking to him through the speaker. I was not going to go into the room and argue with him. Because I knew things would just escalate. But he kept on escalating anyway. So I finally had to basically ignore it, okay? And he did eventually calm down. But that wasn't to say that he hadn't already cussed me out, because he did. He literally cussed me out. I even took a video and showed the aide that afternoon how he was acting, because I wanted her to be prepared. Well, so, long story short, I left him in bed. And I told him, I said, the way you are acting, I am not going to get you up out of that bed. I said, I'm not going to have you holler at me. I'm not going to have you throwing a fit like a child. I said, it's unacceptable behavior. And I said, I can already tell you're going to give me trouble getting up out of the bed. And I said, I'm not going to hurt myself. I said, so I'm going to sit you up. And I did. Made him comfortable. And I said, you're going to have breakfast right here in bed. So I fixed him breakfast. I fixed his coffee. I gave him his medicine, all of that. He ate just fine. I went in there. I got his plate and his bowl and his coffee cup and all that. And took it in the kitchen and turned on the TV for him and started doing the dishes and making banana pudding. I had plans to make banana pudding yesterday, and I was going to do it. Okay? So I got started on all of that. And in the middle of me making banana pudding, instead of Robert telling me he had to use the bathroom and his condom cap was off, he peed all over the place. Now, this was on purpose. I just want you to understand this was done on purpose. And he's yelling at the top of his lungs at me. Again. And I'm like, Robert, I can't leave the stove right now. I've got banana pudding on the stove cooking. I was making it homemade from scratch. He didn't care. He wanted me to come right then. Well, I already knew he was wet, and the only thing I could do would be to completely undress him and change him, clean him up, all of that, right? I already knew what was going on. It's not like I don't know. It's not like I haven't been through it. I go through it every time there's a new aid, okay? This is what he does. So he pulled that condom cap off, and sure enough, he was soaking wet. But I continued to do what I was doing, and I told him he would just have to wait, and I took a verbal lashing from him, okay? It is what it is. So, anyway, long story short, when I finally got done, and I went in the bedroom, again, he tells me, I'm peeing, and I'm peeing right now. Okay, Robert, it's a little bit late to tell me you're peeing right now. I said, if you're peeing, you might as well finish. I said, you're wet anyway, and we got to clean you up. No, you need to give me my damn urinal. Da, 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 da. I mean, just yelling. I mean, like, take the roof off yelling. No joke, okay? This is what Robert does. And I want you to understand this because I'm getting to a point here, okay? So, I tell him, I said, Robert, enough is enough. I said, I'm going to leave the room until you quit yelling at me. I said, now, if you want to just lay there wet, I said, you're going to keep yelling at me. If you want to stop yelling at me, then I will stand here and I will help you. But you are not going to scream at me. You are not going to give me a hard time. I'm not going to accept that behavior. I said, there's no reason for it. I said, you do this every single time you get a new aid. And I said, it's uncalled for. And I said, you are not going to give the new aid, and I can't mention any names, the new aid a hard time today. You are not. And this is what I'm talking about, saying things in love, okay? Sometimes you got to be tough with them. But you do it in love, and you do it in a proper manner. So, I finally got him all cleaned up and everything. And got stuff done. Went back in, finished making my banana pudding. Went to put it all together. And guess what? My banana pudding was not thickened. I forgot to put the most important ingredient in it to thicken it. So, it tasted good, but it wasn't done right. And I forgot, because of everything that was going on, to put the thickening agent in it. And that's exactly what happened. So, anyway, as the day progresses, here comes the aide. And I was explaining to her what happened and everything. and we talked about it. And she was like, well, I do things a little bit differently. Let me try some things here and see how they work. This aide, she herself was in a real major car accident, broke nearly every bone in her body, had to learn how to walk all over again, and a lot of stuff. And she's also taken care of patients in worse shape than Robert. So she says, I have a few little tricks, let me try them. I was like, okay. So I did, and I just stood back, and I watched, and I listened, and Robert was still giving her a hard time. She tried using the sliding board with him and everything else to get him to cooperate, and he wouldn't. So finally, at one point, she was transferring him from the pot to the chair, or the chair to the pot. I can't remember which. And she had to holler for me because Robert was about to slide off into the floor. Not her fault. His fault. Okay? Just giving her a really hard time. She was using the sliding board. There was no reason for any difficulty. Robert is strong. Robert knows what he's doing. I want to make that clear. Okay? So I went in there and I said, okay, back up. Just back up. Let me deal with this. And I was like, Robert, and I said, look at me. I said, look at me, Robert. I had to handle him like a child because sometimes he has the mind of a child. Okay? So I said, look at me, Robert. I said, let me tell you something, mister. Every time you get a new aide, this is how you act. We, and I said, we are not acting this way. I said, you can stand up. And I said, you are not going to slide out of that chair. He's like, my feet are sliding, my feet are sliding. Robert, you got your shoes on. No reason for your feet to slide. Stop now. So I had to get stern with him. And I told her, I said, back up. Let me do this. And she went to reach for him. And I said, no, back up. Let me do this. Let me show you what I know. I said, because I know he's playing you right now. And he's not going to do this and get away with it. And I said, tomorrow will be different. I guarantee you that. It will be different. So I said, Robert, look at me right now. I said, now you put your arms on that chair and you pick your bottom up and you move it back. So he played that I can't thing on me. And I was like, no, unacceptable. Nope, not doing it. Get your butt up off that chair right now so I can position this pillow and you're going to scoot yourself back in it. Tried to give me a hard time again. I said, no, sir. I said, you'll stay just like that. If this is how you want to act, you will stay just like that. So finally, third time, he did it. Picked his butt up, stood halfway up. I didn't require him to stand all the way up. I didn't need that. But I needed him to stand up enough to get the pillow back in position because he had messed it all up in his chair so he could sit in the chair properly. So he did it. And I looked at her and I said, now see, this is what I've been telling you. I said, Robert is very hard to deal with. And tomorrow will be different. I guarantee you it will be different. She's like, okay. And she was about getting ready to leave for the day. So, before she left and everything, we had got him in bed. And that's where he stayed the remainder of the evening. He ate supper in bed and all of that. And I came in there and I gave him his medicine and all that last night. And I looked at him when I was giving his medicine and I said, now, Robert, you ought to be ashamed of yourself for the way you acted. I said, you don't have to try these aids like this. They're not going to let anything happen to you. And that's the whole problem. He thinks that they're going to let something happen to him. If I'm not there, that's in his mind, that's what he thinks. So he does it on purpose, but it's because of the way he thinks that he's doing it, okay? So you have to reassure him. So I reassured him that everything was going to be okay, you know, not to worry about it. I said, but you're not going to act like that no more. No more. You are not going to act like that. I said, if this is the way, or was that this morning? That might have been this morning. I think it was this morning. Because last night when I put him in bed, I told him, I said, we're not going to have another day like this. And I put him in bed and I said goodnight to him and everything. Put his eye mask on him and let him go to sleep. And this morning, yes, it was this morning, when he woke up, he had started in again. And I walked in the room this time. I didn't talk to him through the speaker. I walked in the room and I said, mister. It's not 10 o'clock. You don't get up till 10 o'clock. I said, you don't go to bed till late and you don't sleep during the night. I said, so you're not getting up till 10 o'clock. You don't take your medicine till 10 o'clock. Your medicine has to be given to you the same time every single day. I said, so you don't get up till 10 o'clock. You don't get your medicine till 10 o'clock. And you don't eat till 10 o'clock. I said, I get you up at 10 o'clock every morning. He's like, it's not 10 o'clock yet? And I said, no, sir, it's not. He said, well, is this condom cath on? Because I got to pee. And I said, yes, it is on. I said, now I want you to settle down and I want you to go back to sleep until it's 10 o'clock. This was like at 8 this morning. I want to say around 8 when he started. So I told him, I said, put your eye mask back on and I said, go back to sleep. I will be in here with your coffee and your medicine and your breakfast at 10 o'clock. And I said, when I come in, we're going to talk. He's like, okay. So at 10 o'clock, I go back in there. And I bring his coffee and I give him his medicine. I didn't have his breakfast fixed yet. And I said, okay, Robert. So I'm going to give you your medicine. I'm going to sit you up in this bed. I'm not getting you up out of it yet. I said, because we need to talk. And you're not going to act up, and I want you to listen. I said, the way you acted yesterday was uncalled for, and we're not going to have another day like that today. Are we? And I said, are we? And he shook his head at me, up and down, like, okay, she's really mad. I looked at him and said, I'm not mad. I said, but you acted like a child. And I said, you are a grown man, and you're not going to act like that anymore. And I said, we're going to talk about this. I said, now, the aides are here to help you and assist you in things that you cannot do for yourself. I said, do you understand that? He's like, yes. I said, well, what you did yesterday was you made your aide do everything for you. I said, that's not assisting you. That's not doing for you what you can't do for yourself. I said, even God requires that of us. I said, he's not going to do for us what we are quite capable of doing for ourselves. And I told him, I said, now let me tell you something. I said, I talked to a lady yesterday because I was really concerned about the way you were acting. And I said, she's had 4 aneurysms. And she was in a coma for 3 days. I said, now, she wasn't in a coma as long as you. And I said, the damage that she suffered wasn't as bad as what you suffered. I said, but it took her 2 years to recover, just to get to the point where she is today. And I said, she's had 4 aneurysms that ruptured and a stroke. I said, you had 1 aneurysm. Not that it really makes any difference, but I was trying to get him to relate to what I was saying, okay? Because an aneurysm is an aneurysm. It can kill you, all right? Regardless of it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. It can kill you, bam, like that. just like a stroke can, just like a heart attack can, you know. But I was trying to get his mind to go where my mind was going, okay? So I was trying to lay out a scenario for him. And I said, now, I spoke to this woman because I was concerned about you and the way you were acting. And this is what she told me, which I already knew this, okay? The brain is amazing. You would be surprised what the brain can do. And the brain regenerates, okay? So any damaged cell in your brain can regenerate. So anyone that has a brain injury does have a fighting chance, if they're willing to fight for it. I'm going to say that again. If they're willing to fight for it. Okay? Now we're going to get into the mindset aspect of this. It all has to do with mindset. If you're going to be negative about everything, your brain's going to be, you know, you're going to be battling your brain, because that's where it all comes from. You have got to have a positive attitude. You have got to trust and believe that you can do it. And that's repetition, and that takes a lot of training. You have to retrain your mind. You have to retrain it to think positively and not give up and keep fighting and keep going. And yes, your brain cells do regenerate, and you can survive, and you can get well. And this is what I told him. And I said, you, of all people, Robert, should know that. I said, you've been a nurse. I said, you try to tell me what to do with the kids all the time when they get a scratch or a bump or a bruise or anything else. And I'm always calling you Dr. Robert, you know, and I have for years. So with all that being said, I told him, I said, you know, the aide is here not to just assist you. She is here to help you get stronger and help you get better. I said, but she can't do her job if you're fighting against her. I said, her struggling to pick you up because you won't stand, I said, that's ridiculous. And I said, because you won't stand. I said, Robert, you stand up every day for me. Not every day. I said, yes, you do. I don't help you. I said, I might hold the back of your pants, but I'm not helping you. You're standing up all on your own. And I said, you walk for me every day to that potty chair and to your chair every day. I said, I don't have these kind of issues with you. And if I know I'm going to, then you stay in bed. I said, now you've got a choice. And this is where the tough love thing comes in, okay? And doing this out of love. I said, you got a choice. I said, you're either going to get up and fight this battle and not give up and not put this kind of stress and strain on other people. Or, and I'm looking at the bed, and I said, see where you're laying? That's where you're going to end up spending the rest of your life and dying right there. I said, now, is that what you want? He's like, no. I said, because I'm not putting you in a nursing home. I said, because they're going to do, that's exactly what they're going to do to you. They're going to put you in a bed. That's where you're going to stay in your piss and shit, I'm just going to say it, until they get ready to take care of you. And I said, I've never done that to you. Not intentionally. I said, yes, you have woken up in the morning soaking wet because you pulled the condom cap off. Or you've woken up poopy because you pooped yourself and nobody knew it until they got you up. I said, but other than that, we take care of you, and we take care of you very well, and that is what we are here for. I said, for when things like that arise and happen. I said, but we are not here to do everything for you. Things that you are capable of doing. And I said to him, you are not going to get stronger unless you do it. And you have to follow instruction. And I said, I don't know if you understand this or not, Robert, but I'm going to state this. And if you want to get mad at me, you can. I said, but this is the truth. Right now, you have the mind of a child. You have to work that mind in order for it to regenerate and get well. And I said, unless you are thinking about what you are doing and listening and following direction, that is never going to happen. And I said, I know you can do it. I know you can, because I've seen you. And I said, so, this is what I did. I said, so, what's it going to be, mister? I said, because if you're not going to cooperate with the aide, I might as well not have her here. I might as well do it all myself. And I said, you see this Hoya lift? And I shook it. I said, you haven't used that in a year. It's been a year. We've had no need for that Hoya lift in a year. I said, you remember when you first came home? You couldn't even hold a cup by yourself. Only thing you could do was put a spoon to your mouth. And I said, actually, we had to feed you in the beginning. I said, look at you now. I said, did all that go to waste? Because the way you acted yesterday, you acted like we needed to use that Hoya lift again. And I said, that's not happening. If we got to use that Hoya lift again, you might as well stay in that bed. I'll pick you up with it every day. I'll put you on the potty with it every day. I'll put you back in the bed with it. You'll have bed sores again. And you're going to go through all the crap that you went through in the beginning. All because you're being stubborn. All because of your pride and ego. I said, I understand you're a man. I said, but let me tell you something. I said, look at yourself. And he was literally naked when I was talking to him because I was cleaning him up. I said, look at yourself. I said, where does pride fit into this? Where does ego fit into this? He said, it doesn't. And I said, you're right, it doesn't. I said, you are totally vulnerable right now. And I said, so stop with the BS. Because you know better. And you can do this. And no one is going to cater to you. Or jump when you snap your fingers. And he's like, okay. Can I get dressed now? Can I get dressed now? Trying to change the subject. I said, yeah, but we're not changing the subject. I said, you're going to hear me out on this. And so, you know, I explained it to him, and I explained it to him again. Explained it to him a couple of times. Because his brain really does not work like ours, okay? So you've got to be repetitious with it. And I was stern with him as I was saying it. Because I'm not tolerating anymore, okay? If I tolerate it, he's going to keep doing it. He's going to think it's okay. Just like with a child. You know, if you tolerate something and keep tolerating it, they think it's okay. Well, I'm not tolerating it anymore. And I put my foot down. You know, I put my foot down. So, we got him dressed. He had his breakfast, all of that. And I said, after I got him up, I said, we're going to sit on the pot. I'm getting him in a routine. After he eats, he gets up and sits on a pot. He needs the routine, just like a child does, okay? So I got him on the pot. And that's been our morning so far. That's been our morning so far today. So today, I believe, is going to be a lot better day. And I believe that Robert is going to do the things that he needs to do to get better. He has got to stop this. Like I said, it's every time he gets a new aide. And every time he's not getting the attention he thinks he should get when he should get it. And I've allowed it for too long. That's my fault. Okay? Not beating myself up, but that's my fault. I've been told time and time again by the doctors, by neurology, by the counselors, do not let him tell you he can't when he can. And do not allow him to yell at you or cuss you. If need be, speak very boldly and clearly to him and tell him, Robert, I'm not going to listen to that. And when you're in a better mood, I'll be back. And we can talk and turn around and walk out, even if he's yelling and screaming at the top of his lungs. And I've started to do that, and it works. Now, there are times he'll carry it on for a while, and there are other times, because I guess he doesn't think I'm serious and I'm going to come back. But he's found out I am serious, and I'm not coming back until he stops. Because literally, he's carried this on for an hour before. And I see these little things. I don't have one in this ear right now. But when it gets too escalated, pop, they both go in. My music goes up, and I can't hear nothing else. When I can't hear it, I'm not going to go back. Now, if I hear it because of my personality and wanting to fight the good fight, let's say, if I hear him and I hear him keeping on and on and on, I let it eat at me. And when it starts eating at me, then I get up, and that's when the battle starts, okay? But so long as I can back away from it and calm myself down, I'm good. I'm good. So that's what I have to do sometimes. And I've just got to learn to be stern with him, but in a loving manner, and not tolerate his behavior. I don't have to. And it's uncalled for. And he's not going to do it. He could have hurt me yesterday. He could have hurt his aide yesterday. The way he was acting. I'm serious. He could have. And if it puts them in danger, they don't have to work. So that's one of the reasons why I can't tolerate it. And I won't tolerate it. You know, there's no reason for his behavior like that. He's strong enough. The man can stand. He's unstable still, but he can stand. And he can take steps. He can't walk yet, but he can take steps. And you have to walk beside him, okay? But he can do it. Don't tell me you can't when you do it every single day. You know, and that's where his mind was yesterday. I can't. Or I'm not going to. I don't know which it was. Refusal or I can't. But that's got to turn around. And he's got to start telling himself he can. And I told him, I said, Robert, you can. And I said, you got to stop telling yourself you can't. I said, because you know you can. I said, because that's not going to get you anywhere. Anywhere. You're never going to get better like that. Keep saying I can't. You keep saying I can't and you won't. It's that simple. I said, you didn't come this far by saying I can't. You came this far by saying I can and I'm not giving up. I said, you never would have come as far as you come otherwise. And I said, there's no reason to give up. Yeah, it gets harder. It gets harder. Because there's more pain involved. The more he has to work at it, the more pain he goes through. I understand that. I understand that. I've been there myself. That's in anything, you know. But anyway, that's what I wanted to talk to y'all about today. And I want to leave you with this, because I always like to leave things on a good note. If you're sitting there like Robert saying, I can't, stop. Because you can. Now, it's up to you if you want to give up or not. Nobody can make you not give up. Only you can do that. But you can do anything. You can do anything. And if you want to bring the word into it, I'll bring the word into it. I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. It says I can, meaning me, meaning you, do all things, all, emphasis on all, through Christ, in Christ, with Christ, who strengthens me, who strengthens you. So yes, you can. Please don't ever tell me you can't. That word to me is like out the window trash. Can't, never, could do anything is what my dad used to tell me, and he's right. So don't tell me you can't. That word don't work with me. Because yes, you can. Bye.